my sweet little garbanzo beans. Welcome to all my little baby beans who have their south node in Scorpio. I would call it Scorpidorp, so it's really hard for me not to say that. Screw it, we're gonna say it. For all my baby beans who have their south node in Scorpidorps. So yeah, welcome. So your south node in your natal chart is considered to be kind of the energy that you have already mastered. Now I do want to make this is why it's kind of, it's sort of associated with the energy that you may have kind of experienced or embodied in a past life. And I want to make kind of a couple notes about this. So one is that this isn't your only indicator of past life energy in your chart. Two is that this is going to be heavily impacted based on the house it's in, as well as if it's got any other kind of like aspects that might impact its expression. And this is also going to, oh gosh, I totally had a side note. Oh my gosh, it fell out of my brain, you guys. Okay, there we go. This is also not going to necessarily talk about your only past life or even like the most prominent past life that you've had. This is just really talking about the past life that's coming through that's most impacting your current life journey, right? So if you're not sure, by the way, what your south node is, I did put a link in the description box for a site where you can go generate a free in-depth natal chart report. I'm not sponsored by nor affiliated with the site in any capacity. I just like it, so I figured I'd put it there in case you guys wanted to check on that or any other part of your chart. I do also offer in-depth natal chart readings, the link for which is also in the description box below, along with my Etsy shop link that has a variety of other readings. So if you are interested in that, please feel free to check that out. If you are interested in any of my other readings, please feel free to peruse. And if you're interested in this reading for you specifically, for what's in your chart specifically, please feel free to DM me. Please feel free to put it in the comments and I can get in touch with you, because I don't currently offer this as a reading, but I'm happy to add this or to make this custom for anyone. So now that I got my spiel out of the way. South node in Scorpio. So south node, like I was saying, is the energy that you've kind of already mastered. This can also be the energy that you can kind of be prone to defaulting to, which is why you then have your north node in the opposite sign, right? Because the goal is always to try to, bring in balance and achieve harmony within the self, for your soul's journey, right? Having Scorpio in your south node. I want to actually just first read what's on the card, because I put this lovely card out to represent y'all. But it says transformative, intense, passionate, secretive, carnal, thorough, obsessive, intimate, primal, lusty, deep, eternal, resourceful, mysterious, regenerative, compulsive, destructive, and manipulative. Okay. So I'm just trying to get to say it won't say. There we go, I got it. Okay, so the words that really stuck out to me the most, and this is kind of corresponding with what I was getting in the meditation prior to filming this reading, is that the words that was really sticking out were obsessive, regenerative, and destructive. Oof, I thought I was going to have to burp. I did not. Whew. And so the way I was kind of picking up on this energy in the meditation is that I feel that in this past life that's coming through, there was something, and I feel like this is at a community level, although this could have been in a smaller grouping like a family or a workplace, etc. But I'm picking up like there's like a community level here, and it doesn't feel like this is huge conspiracy, but this feels like there's something where I kind of get this feeling that there is this situation within your community in this past life. Sorry, I'm just shifting in my seat. Where there may have been, with this manipulative energy, there may have been this secret, or this, like, what I'm hearing is a cover-up. And so also too, like, again, because obsessive regenerative and destructive came up, and this is all about, this traditionally Scorpio rules the 8th house. This is all about like death and rebirth kind of an energy. I was sort of feeling, and I also was really drawn into the snake. So I was really, really drawn into this, and I was kind of feeling this energy that there was this almost like there was a cover up, or there was something that was not on the up and up, and I feel like it was being kept behind closed doors. Now this may have, for some of you, this may have manifested, sorry, I'm just moving something as I'm sitting. This may have manifested as, you may have found out about this situation, and you were offered, maybe like you were offered a very powerful position or a lot of wealth. It was kind of like, to keep you quiet. It was hush money, essentially. Or again, offered quite a position of power, but this was predicated on playing ball. And I feel like you refused to capitulate, whether, outwardly or this was more kind of internal and secret. And I feel like, there became this obsession with finding out what was actually going on. So when I was meditating on this, I saw images of being jailed, like thrown in a jail, like not like in a jail cell, like literally the image of being thrown into a jail cell. So again, this feels like this is something where there was, because for me, snakes are also all about like, sacred and occult knowledge to its own extent. So this may have been something where, again, this feels like there's this like obsessive quality of wanting to find out the truth, wanting to find out what's actually going on, because it does feel like there's a lot of like manipulation, and there's a lot here, I feel like, about status, and I know that's more of a Capricorn vibe, but it feels like there's a lot like about being offered this position of like wealth or leadership. There's something like that, and turning it down, or like potentially accepting it as a way of trying to take down the organization from the inside. And I know that's very, very specific, but this is the energy that I'm kind of getting. So this is going to play out differently. This played out differently for everybody. But there feels like there's something where there was this corruption, and you discovered it, and then tried to destroy it. In order to kind of, with regenerative, in order to kind of build up something better, to build up something more solid. And because Scorpio is a fixed sign as well, I feel like you almost like wouldn't take no for an answer kind of an energy. Like even if you kind of nodded and smiled and seemingly played along, to save face in front of other people, it was like all a cover in order to be able to get to the truth, in order to be able to really expose what was actually going on, or attempt to figure out what was actually going on. So there's like no hiding anything from you. There's no pulling the wool over your eyes. It was very intense. So let us pull a past life card to kind of dig a little bit deeper. All my decks are going to be linked in the description box down below, by the way. So if you're interested in them, that is where you shall find them, darling. Okay. South Node and Scorpidorps. What you got for me, baby? Oh. Okay. So we got Asia. Okay. So you may have lived this past life in a certain part of Asia. Or for some of you, I'm feeling like this is very, very specific, so bear with me. For some of you, I feel like this is talking about some type of exploration and conquering of different parts of Asia. There's like got kind of a colonialism vibe. And again, this feels like there's something where there is an abuse of power, and in this past life, you were very much obsessed with understanding what was going on and exposing what was going on. And I feel like, too, something I'm getting here, because I don't know, I feel like something else I'm getting here is that if this was sort of the scenario, I feel like you experienced this really big shift in rebirth in consciousness from being exposed to different cultural and spiritual beliefs. And I feel like it's kind of this, it feels like there was this complete, breakdown and rebuilding of your perceptions of folks of different cultures, if that is kind of the scenario. Again, for some of you, you may have come from an Asian country or an Asian background in a past life. And I know that sounds very, very vague, but we do have an entire continent listed here, so it's not like we have kind of specific countries to point toward. But with the yellow here too, again, I'm really almost feeling like if this is something where, you know, you were sort of more part of the group of people who were, you know, exploring, conquering, invading, etc. I feel like there's like this enlightenment with the yellow. There's this new understanding, this new spiritual and energetic perception, this new lease on life, essentially this new perspective on life. And I feel like it really like spoke to you at the soul level. And it feels like it just shifted your entire perspective. To the point where it feels like where you were, you know, the kind of, I'm going to say side you were originally aligned on, or aligned with, just like, it's like this like complete shift where it's like, whoa, what are we doing? It's kind of the energy. It caused you to question everything that you thought was a just use of power. That was channeled. So this is kind of what I'm picking up on here. But let's pull you a numerology guidance card and look a little bit closer. We'll dig a little deeper because that's what Scorpio is good for. Okay. Okay, so this fell down, but y'all got moderation. Look at that. Okay. So card 14 in this theme. So in this deck, there are some of the cards that have numbers that correspond with major arcana. And of those, there are only a couple where the theme of the card corresponds to the theme of the major arcana card it pairs up with. And this is one. This is a very temperance kind of vibe. So you might be a Sagittarius or have important Sagittarius placements. But also too with the red and the green, this is very much, I feel like this is this feels like a battle between what you know in your heart to be true and what feels secure. So again, this is kind of why I feel like you're kind of on the opposing side. You were kind of, you know, on, I'm going to say the opposing side, right? Or I don't want to say the side of the oppressor, but that's kind of the vibe. And it's like you had this shift in consciousness, this shift in experience, like this shift in perspective based on the people that you've met, you know, maybe being immersed in a different culture. And this could go vice versa too. This could be where, you know, you came from a background of Asian heritage and then maybe travel changed your perspective. But again, with the yellow here, this is very much about spiritual enlightenment. You had a huge shift in perspective. And this is very much in line with Sagittarian kind of energy as well, right? Really like traveling, having this higher moral philosophy, higher moral experience. This is about like an abstract understanding, like an abstract knowledge as opposed to like a concrete knowledge. But yes, moderation. So this is the first thing I was getting here, is that there may have been this struggle between in your heart what you knew to be true and what was secure for you, right? So it may have been that by kind of speaking out, speaking your truth, it was very like dangerous for you in a real world sense. Like again, I get this feeling of being like almost thrown into jail. Also too, because card 14 reduces to a 5, it's a lot of challenges, a lot of struggle, a lot of strife. And again, I also feel like too, this is here to talk about bringing things into moderation. So I feel like you had a very polarized idea of the situation you were in, and then it like swapped on a dime, right? It's like, again, like you had experience, so whether you were immersed in a different culture, or maybe you fell in love with somebody from a different part of the world, it like changed your perspective in a huge way. But another thing I feel like this is talking about is that there's this, again, this obsessive quality that needs to be brought into balance, because I do feel like that I feel like that kind of brings you, like that's brought into this life very heavily. Again, you may find that you do get obsessive. And also too, because, you know, it's worth mentioning, Scorpio is ruled by Mars. You may find that, sorry, I'm trying to adjust the light so it's not quite as much on the cards. Okay, there we go. You may find that, oh gosh, I totally forgot. Oh, that you struggle with like vengeful kind of thoughts sometimes. So it may be like, you know, Scorpio is known for not really being super forgiving if somebody has crossed them. So it may be that you're kind of caught between Just depending on what else is in your chart and your own personal experiences throughout this lifetime, it may be that, generally speaking, you're pretty good-natured, but there are a couple things where you sort of almost default to the Scorpio energy, where if somebody's crossed you, then they're I don't want to say they're full on dead to you, but it's hard to get back in your good graces. This also could be the kind of energy of like you're a human lie detector, like nobody can lie to you. And as a result, I feel like if that happens, you may have more of an intense reaction. And again, this is like leftover from this past life where you're getting very obsessive about finding the truth. And I feel like truth, again, both in a spiritual sense and then truth in the world around you. So like, this may kind of be following you into this life a little bit as well. So if somebody, again, is not being transparent with you, you may be prone to kind of getting obsessed about it or getting angry about it, maybe thinking the worst of them. Instead, they may have a more like innocent reason. Not saying it's okay to not, like, I'm not saying it's okay to lie to somebody, but there are things we're allowed to keep private to ourselves, and it can be hard when you're naturally very intuitive and very attuned to other people, because then it, like, if something is up, it's hard to discern sometimes between what truth people owe you and what privacy they owe themselves, right? And this is kind of a struggle I feel for this group, and not all the time, but I just feel like sometimes, and I feel like some of the triggers have to do with this past life energy. So maybe this is from authority figures, maybe this is from religious leaders. It'll be different for each of you just depending on this past life experience that you had. So I'm gonna pull you guys some tarot, and we're gonna dig a little deeper. Yeah, it goes, all right, you know what, it goes this way. Okay, cool. This is the Herbcrafter's tarot, by the way. It's freaking gorgeous. Wow. And they had things to say. I was gonna pull 3 cards, and that's what we got. It's really interesting. We have the World at the bottom, and this came up at the bottom for South Node in Libra as well. So again, this is a cycle that's trying to come to a close, because whatever needed to be learned has been learned through this. And again, I feel like it feels like this. It feels like there's 2 lines and they're running parallel. And it feels like this is like where your lessons were in the scenario, and you reached the end. You got to the end. You learned the lessons, and it feels like the obsessive, energy that drove you to like learn these lessons is continuing. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah. So the 3 cards you got the Empress, beautiful. You got the 6 of Wands reversed. I see. And the 8 of Swords reversed. Okay. So I'm going to say, just because of the Empress here, this is Venus energy. This could refer to a Taurus or Libra in your life at the time. But really what I feel here is I'm feeling a couple things. One is that I feel like this shift in perspective did come through a romantic relationship. I feel like this is like in love with somebody who, again, just because of the Venus energy, this came from a romantic relationship or somebody that you were very, very smitten with, somebody that you just found very beautiful, very loving, I'm hearing the word tender, very understanding. And again, I feel like whatever this was, this person had an energy that you had lacked in your life and lacked in the people who you were surrounded by. So again, whether this is work, whether this is, for some of you may have been in the military in this past life, whether this is, family, etc. This feels like this person was just like this beautiful, perfect breath of fresh air, right? Because there's like little, there's like fruit, and there's roses, and there's these little chili peppers. It feels like this perfect mixture of like beautiful and graceful and sweet and spicy. There's like this person was like, and I don't feel like it was super duper long term. I don't think it's necessarily short lived, but I think it was like, I'm getting like a couple of years, right? So maybe you were with this person for a couple of years, or you lived in the same area, or you were together for a little while and then sort of on and off, something like that. I don't think this was like necessarily maybe like the person you were with for life, or not necessarily like the love of your life, but loving this person changed you for the better, made you, like, changed you in a positive way. Because the Empress is also ruled by Venus, and that co-rules Taurus, which is your North Node. I feel like this also could be really talking about having been, like, really needing to kind of be grounded. And I feel like, again, this comes through another person. This person may have really grounded you in the 3D reality. This person, like, and this is something too, I feel like this is another reason why I'm kind of feeling this. I feel like you could have moved somewhere where the culture was so different, as well as, like, the actual natural background. So you may have been somewhere where there's a lot of natural beauty, or somewhere that really valued nature a lot more. And I feel like the exposure to this different cultural view on nature changed your perspective, right? And kind of introduced you to this almost like Taurus kind of energy of really enjoying your sensuality, enjoying the beauty of the world around you. I just feel like it completely changed your view on not even just like love, but like a universal love, or the enjoyment of life in general, right? Because we have the eight of swords reversed here, and I freaking love this card like this. Like, I like the Eight of Swords well enough, but when it's reversed, it's just like, oh, it's so good. And so the Eight of Swords, when it's reversed, is really talking about, when it's upright, it's this like concept of the self-limiting beliefs we tell ourselves that keep us trapped, right? Or the ways that we can't see how we keep ourselves stuck. And when it's reversed, it's like the blindfold is coming off. We are seeing how we have limited ourselves through our perception. And I love it because it's so empowering, right? Because when it's upright, it's kind of a little bit of a bummer. It's like, nobody can help you. Nobody's coming to save you. But when it's reversed, it's like, oh my God, okay, nobody's coming to save me, which means I don't have to wait on anybody. I am free to change my entire life right now. And I just love that so much. I think that's absolutely one of the most empowering things in the world. And so what I feel like this is, because we have the Six of Wands reversed here, and this is all about victory. This is also about public recognition. So what I feel like is that you had this experience, and this experience reconnected you to this, like, again, this very, like, Venusian energy, this, like, love, this, like, falling in love with life is really the vibe. And I do feel like this involved another person. So this is, like, either a major romantic relationship, and I feel like it involved a lot of flowers, too. Like, this person may have really loved flowers or gotten you to love flowers. But, like, either you fell in love with this person and they totally changed your perception about life in general, and the way you live your life, or this person taught you a new way of living. And again, it's very much like being connected with nature, because I think it's interesting too. We have so much about, like, flowers, and, like, we have a lot of nature related imagery, and then and that's kind of true of the entire deck, but even on this one we have, like, a little stone archway and a gate, right? This is more man-made stuff. So because we have, this card about victory and public recognition and, a round of public applause, what I feel like is that you brought this to your people, right? So whether this is to, I'm hearing commanding officer, so for some of you, you really were in the military, but, like, whether this is an authority figure, family members, community members, religious authority figures, it's like you brought this information, this new perspective to them, and I feel like it was shut down. So it's not only like, there was failure, but it's like, because this is about public recognition when it's upright, this is like your idea was, like, kicked to the curb, scoffed at. They were trying to quiet you, right? Because they didn't want the public to notice this. So again, this is why I feel like there's this element of, like, trying to, like, keep you quiet, like this hushing sort of a feeling. And I feel like that was the thing that freed you, even though it was probably a kick in the ass, spiritually speaking, of course. It was very, very difficult. It was very challenging. This, like, opened your eyes and freed you. So I want to pull some more and kind of get a better idea of what this is talking about. Kind of like this. Actually, like that. Okay. Alright, so y'all have, yeah, okay, the Knight of Pentacles reversed, the Ten of Cups, oh goodness, okay, and the Judgment card. Okay, so with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, he's the slowest knight in the deck. He takes his time, but he always cultivates something very solid. So when he brings forward an offer, it's very trustworthy. So again, I feel like this situation demolished your trust in this establishment. And it, you know, when he's reversed, I always call it going nowhere fast, because he moves so slow. And when he's upright, it's like, okay, well, you've been investing all this time and energy into creating something, but it's worth it, right? So when it's reversed, I kind of assume it's not really worth it. And we have somebody weaving on the imagery here. So again, it feels like, you know, everything that you were kind of weaving, everything that all the work you were doing, feels like it's almost for naught because it wasn't appreciated. It was scorned, right? And the thing, oh, this is kind of sad. Okay, so with the Judgment card and the Ten of Cups, I feel like you had the offer to have your heart's desire. You had the offer to live this type of a life. Again, whether this is somebody that you were in love with or whether this is just like a way of living, you had this potential right here. It's like you had a taste of it and you had the potential to have more of it. But with the Judgment card, this feels like ultimately you had to choose this other path. Ultimately, you know, again, it feels like you were really trying to show the truth and to change people's perception of the truth, right? Because of this obsessive quality. So while this obsessive quality may have been for the greater good in some ways, right? Because you're exposing the truth or you're dedicating your life to trying to expose unjust rulership, something like that. I feel like it was kind of detrimental. It was a little destructive because it cost you this beautiful life that you wanted. And this may be why your North Node is in Taurus now, is kind of moving more toward, again, this feels like this was either, if this was a love relationship, I also feel like this person showed you a new way to live. And so, you know, you might find that when you're pursuing this now, you feel better. Like when you're, like you might find, when you're like grounded and you're really enjoying the beauty of what life has to offer. You may also find that this lifetime you are much more drawn to like natural settings more than like cities or man-made things. But this is just, I feel like what this is really talking about is that there was this opportunity to live in this completely different way that just really spoke to you at the heart and soul. That was just like the ultimate beauty that life has to offer for you. And I feel like you had to make a choice, and I feel like you ended up following more of your obsession, which is why in this life you're being pushed to stay more grounded in the now and in your own happiness. So I'm just going to pull you guys a couple of quick advice cards. This one and this one. Okay, so this one goes like this. But you have, okay, the Four of Swords has been coming out a lot. And yeah, the Ace of Pentacles reversed. So yeah, I feel like this is really saying, and I'm sorry, I'm going to cut it off quick because the camera's about to cut me off. Your advice is really, you know, this is all about a grounded new beginning. So your advice here is really, you know, to try to stay grounded and to not skip over offers that are kind of reflecting those themes, right? To really like reflect and come from a place of calm when you're being offered these opportunities, and to really decide what's going to make you happy, what's going to help you to enjoy life in the now as it is. So I hope this has helped. I'm wishing you all the best and the most beautiful things that life has to offer. Take care, love bugs. Bye.